Imagine for a second that you're handed a single blurry photograph, and you're told to find exactly where on Earth it was taken. It sounds impossible, right? Well, welcome to this explainer on geospatial intelligence. Today, we're going to completely adopt the mindset of a digital detective. We're going to track, map, and verify information across the globe, all by using publicly available geographic data. Seriously, whether you're tracking a massive cargo ship, verifying the exact location of a viral photo, or reconstructing a complex travel route, you're about to learn exactly how to map out the truth. Here's our investigative roadmap for today. First, understanding geospatial intelligence. Second, satellite and map foundations. Third, geolocating from the ground. Fourth, tracking ships and planes. And finally, synthesizing data with GIS. Okay, let's jump straight into part 1, understanding geospatial intelligence. Before we look at the tools, let's look at how investigators actually gather intelligence in the real world.
So, traditionally, investigators relied heavily on what we call human intelligence, or human intelligence. You can think of this as getting actionable insights directly from human sources on the ground. Picture your classic spy meeting an informant in a dimly lit cafe. It's direct, for sure, but it's fundamentally limited by that one person's perspective and their specific level of access.
Then, on the other end of the spectrum, there's SIGINT, which stands for Signals Intelligence. This is a highly technical approach. It focuses entirely on intercepting invisible electronic signals. We're talking radio transmissions, satellite communications, encrypted internet traffic, you name it. It is incredibly powerful, but it usually requires highly restricted access or some seriously advanced interception technology. But today we are focusing entirely on GEOINT, Geospatial Intelligence. This is this incredibly powerful discipline that leverages visual and spatial data, things like satellite imagery, detailed maps, and geolocation tools, to literally map out the facts. And honestly, the wildest part about GEOINT is just how much of this workflow you can execute right from your laptop, using completely publicly available open source data.
Moving right along to part 2, satellite and map foundations, let's look down from space. Looking down at macro-level satellite imagery gives us this unparalleled visibility into remote or restricted locations. We're primarily dealing with optical imagery here. Think of them as giant digital cameras in orbit. Providers like Maxar, Planet Labs, and of course Google Earth offer this incredible raw view of the surface. But as an investigator, you always have to verify a few things. Check the image resolution, find the exact capture date, and watch out for visual blockers like thick cloud cover that might hide your target. Because you can't just stare at these orbital views and hope the answer jumps out at you. You really have to extract the clues. First, determine the scale so you actually understand the size of the area you're looking at. Find true north so you're oriented. Heavily analyze the direction of the shadows. That's going to help you determine the exact time of day. And vitally, evaluate the terrain. Ask yourself, how do these mountains, the elevation slopes, or the dense vegetation affect human movement and visibility on the ground? And remember, every single observation you make from space ultimately ties back to one crucial thing: exact geographic coordinates, latitude and longitude. These two numbers literally form the geographic backbone of your entire investigation. They anchor your digital evidence to a specific, indisputable point on the globe. All right, part 3, geolocating from the ground. Let's transition from satellites down to street-level intelligence. So imagine you're trying to verify a suspicious video of a military convoy. What do? Well, you cross-reference your satellite coordinates using mapping platforms. Google Earth is amazing because it lets you measure exact distances and use 3D buildings to match the background of a video. OpenStreetMap is fantastic because it gives you incredibly detailed, community-sourced data. And tools like Mapillary offer user-uploaded, ground-level street views. By combining these, you are essentially building a virtual 3D diorama of your crime scene. But, what's really fascinating is when we move beyond simply finding where something happened and start proving when it happened. This is called chronolocation. We do this by tracking environmental and structural changes over very specific points in time. Viewing a single location across different months is just incredibly revealing. If you scrub back through historical imagery on Google Maps, you can spot all sorts of things: missing structures, a new construction project, or changing seasonal vegetation, like seeing bare trees in winter versus a full canopy of leaves in the summer. Doing this allows you to definitively bracket the exact time frame of a photograph or an event. But here's the thing. A seasoned investigator never relies on just one clue. Never. We always corroborate these visual changes with external data. We'll use tools like SunCalc to match the shadow angles in a photo to a specific time of day. Or we'll pull historical weather radar to see if the rain and wind in a video actually match the claimed date and location. It's all about stacking that evidence.
Which brings us to part 4, tracking ships and planes. How do we monitor moving targets?
Even though they operate in completely different domains, these massive vehicles actually broadcast their historical tracks for us to find. For maritime ships, they use the Automatic Identification System, or AIS. This transmits position, speed, and heading, which is absolutely perfect for spotting things like illegal fishing. For aviation, it's ADS-B, which broadcasts a plane's altitude, speed, and route using satellite navigation. Now, to track planes specifically, you really need to rely on unique identifiers. The call sign is helpful. It identifies this specific flight route. But the real golden key? That's the hex code. It's a unique 24-bit address that is permanently hardwired to the aircraft's physical registration. Think of it like a license plate that cannot be easily swapped. It lets you track celebrity jets or illicit cargo across multiple flights anywhere in the world.
But let's be realistic for a second about our investigative limitations. These identifiers can absolutely be deliberately turned off by captains or pilots. When a target cuts their transponder, they go dark. And that's exactly when we have to pivot back to our satellite imagery, our social media clues, and our ground-level tools to hunt them down all over again.
Finally, part 5, synthesizing data with GIS. This is where we bring everything together. So this is where geographic information systems, software like QGIS or ArcGIS, come into play. Think of GIS as a digital detective's corkboard with the red string connecting everything. We combine coordinates, image metadata, and satellite imagery all into one interactive platform. We map the data using points for specific locations, lines for travel routes, and large polygons to highlight general areas of interest. And this is exactly how you build a solid case. By stacking our data as layers, combining street maps with weather history and flight paths, we can perform true geospatial analysis. We can reconstruct an entire travel route piece by piece, proving undeniable spatial connections between a target and an event. If you take one thing away from this, let it be the golden rule of GEOINT: corroboration. A complete workflow looks like this. You preserve your evidence, you extract the geographic clues, you map your observations, you analyze the terrain, the elevation, the weather, and the transportation data. You geolocate, you chronolocate, and you reconstruct the route. Never, ever rely on a single shadow or map point. Build an undeniable spatial case, and always document your limitations.
Which leaves us with a fascinating and maybe slightly unsettling final question. In a world where absolutely every coordinate can be mapped, where satellites capture our streets from above, and open-source tools can reconstruct almost any event, how much of your own daily movement is readily available for the next investigator to find? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes on the map.